Anne Pleskovic was born in the small town of Strongsville, Ohio, to a mother who was a dependable cornerstone of the women's football team. In high school, she became close with a man who would become the love of her life, Jeffrey Scullin. Anne and Jeffrey went on to have a lovely daughter together and were making plans to get married. When strange things started happening in their home, it worsened until something terrible occurred, and their happily ever after would turn out to just be a fantasy. Something so awful to imagine that made their love hit rock bottom, the greatest betrayal in the history of love. So what happened, and who betrayed whom? Hello, and welcome to another video. As always, we would appreciate it if you would give this video a like, subscribe, and ensure that the notification bell is turned on for more in-depth real crime sagas like this. The peaceful community of Strongsville, Ohio, served as the landscape for the majority of Bruce and Melinda Pleskovic's parenting years. They had 3 children, 2 daughters named Megan and Anna, as well as a son named Kyle, who had Down syndrome and couldn't speak. Melinda was a well-respected member of the neighborhood thanks to her dual roles as a teacher, as well as the head coach of the women's varsity soccer team. During her time as a high school student, Anna Pleskovic began a relationship with Jeffrey Scullin. After they received their diplomas, they went on to become engaged and eventually had a daughter. Due to the fact that they were a young couple, they required a lot of assistance. Anna was employed at Applebee's as a waitress, and Jeff made the claim that he was doing some spare part-time jobs. To be helpful, Anna, Jeff, and their baby were offered the opportunity to live in the basement of the Pleskovic's home rent-free so that they could save money for their own apartment. They were all like one big happy family and were incredibly excited about Anna and Jeff's wedding. The Pleskovics had a pleasant experience interacting with Jeff, who had a laid-back demeanor. However, strange things started happening in the Pleskovic house a few months after they moved in there. The wedding of Anna and Jeff was set to take place in October of 2017. According to the terms of the arrangement, Jeff was responsible for paying for the location and sending out his share of the invitations. Bruce and Melinda were going to take care of everything else. Jeff's parents had never intended to be a part of the wedding planning process, and that never changed. According to Jeff, his parents didn't even like the Pleskovics. After the couple moved in, the Pleskovics started claiming that they were losing money. At first, it was only $1 bills and $5 bills, but over time, it began to rise to larger amounts. The family was concerned because they thought they were the focus of someone's attention. Jeff reported that there was an attempted break-in on one of the occasions while he was home alone. He observed someone stretching their arm through the sliding glass door, but was able to scare the intruder away. The family would also spot strangers wandering around their yard, but luckily, Jeff was usually there to prevent any burglary attempts. The thieves made off with the Pleskovics' car keys and used them to start their vehicles and activate their alarm systems in the middle of the night. It was such a traumatic experience for the family. In a separate incident, Bruce, Anne's father, discovered nails in one of his tires. They never failed to report these events to the police, but the authorities didn't have much to go on. The family carried on with their daily lives, even though the wedding day was drawing closer. 1 week before the wedding, Anne's mother, Melinda, received a phone call from the venue of the wedding stating that they needed to pay the cost or else they would cancel the event. Jeff's card had been used, although it had been declined 14 times, she was told. Melinda decided to compensate the venue herself, and she intended to address Jeff directly. It was also discovered that Jeff had never gotten around to sending out his share of the invitations. The Pleskovics made another attempt to get in touch with Jeff's relatives before the wedding in hopes of eventually meeting them. Jeff had always made it clear that they wouldn't be able to become friends with them, despite the fact that Anne's family had expressed that desire. on October 23, 2017, everything would change. Jeff disclosed to Bruce and Melinda that his mother would like to treat them to dinner and would like to pay them for the cost of the reception location. Bruce felt that it was strange that Jeff kept shifting the plans around. After that, just as Bruce was about to leave work, he received a text from Melinda's phone implying that she was going to meet him at the restaurant. However, the text that his wife sent did not sound like the way that she would usually message him. When Bruce arrived at the restaurant, however, there was nobody else present. He tried calling Melinda and the others, but to no avail, so eventually he left to go to the gym instead. After receiving a call from Anna in which she instructed him to meet the rest of the family at Applebee's, he was then bombarded by calls from Jeff in which he repeated the same instruction Anna said. When Bruce arrived, Jeff was already there, waiting with the baby. Bruce grew uneasy when Melinda wasn't there. Her phone was turned off, and neither he nor Jeff had communicated with her in any way. Jeff claimed that he wasn't able to enter the residence because the security code was not working. Bruce became increasingly anxious, but thought that maybe something came up that needed Melinda's attention. Bruce then rushed through the rest of his lunch and then exited the restaurant with Jeff and his granddaughter. Because Jeff's truck was low on gas, he went to his father's house in the early evening to retrieve a couple of full containers. While Jeff was getting the truck filled up, he requested that Bruce watch his daughter for him. Bruce noticed that it appeared as though he was being deliberately delayed and that it was taking an indeterminate amount of time. Anna had given Jeff a set of keys, but when they arrived at the house, he pretended that they were damaged. They entered the house thanks to Kyle, and once inside, they discovered Melinda lying on the ground in a pool of blood. Jeff called 911, and so did Bruce. Melinda's funeral would take place on the same day as the wedding that her daughter was planning to have with Jeff. Jeff volunteered as a pallbearer. After the murder, investigators recovered a huge tactical knife inside Scullin Jr.'s pickup vehicle, and a forensic investigation of the knife determined that there was blood on the blade, and that blood belonged to Melinda. Jeff's DNA was also found on the handle of the knife. Additionally, they discovered blood on the door handle on the passenger side of the vehicle. According to the findings of the investigations, Scullin and Melinda had a long history of conflicts, so it seems that everything wasn't as rosy as we thought. The results of Melinda's autopsy revealed that she had more than 35 stab wounds in addition to 3 gunshot wounds. It appeared that all of the robbery attempts and suspicious conduct came to a halt. The reason for this was determined by the police to be that Jeff was the one responsible for everything, including Melinda's murder. Initially, Jeff denied having anything to do with the murder, but eventually came clean and admitted his involvement. In addition, a polygraph examination was not successful for Jeff. He staged all the robberies and suspicious conduct. Jeff claimed that Melinda became upset with him because he possessed a gun, and because he accused Anna of being unfaithful. He then claimed that Melinda went into a rage, and he claimed he had to shoot her in order to protect himself. He stated that he did not recall stabbing her more than 35 times. However, she was found to have over 35 stab wounds. There has never been an honest explanation. The general consensus is that Jeff did not pay for the reception location, and Melinda had confronted him, leading to her death. In response to a number of allegations, Jeffrey Scullin entered a plea of not guilty. However, he was found guilty by a jury and given a sentence of life in prison with a chance of parole after 33 years. Anna, in her last words in court, said that Jeffrey Scullin should be locked up permanently and that he was a sadistic killer on top of being a psychopath, a thief, a pathological liar, and a manipulator. She also stated that he has no remorse and should be locked away from the good people of the world. Do you think that Anna overlooked any red flags before inviting Jeff into her home? Let us know in the comment section below. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.